your recycling, everything about it should be up to standard. So I'm very excited to say that we are at completion stage.
Yeah.
We are actually fitting out. The business itself, the old Micho UAP business, will be moving to the tower. And we're now saying it's time for people to come and have a look.
All right.
Come to the top, take pictures, see what it looks like for yourself. Yes.
So following the acquisition by Old Mutual of UAP, this sort of had an impact on your asset size as well as your asset portfolio, which is estimated to be now pegged at about 25 billion shillings. Are we looking at more investments around property across the region?
I think it's only fair to say as an insurance company, property assets will always be attractive. The current portfolio, if you combine the group, accounts for less than 25% of the total book. So there is still scope to grow. There is land in Kigali, there is property in Juba, and we are committed to staying in those countries. I don't think there's any stronger way for an insurance company to give you reassurance that we are committed to our markets, we are stable, and we're actually here to give you return than having a property asset class. So we remain committed and we feel strongly that property will give sustainable and long-term returns to the group and to our policyholders.
Of course, the one question that a lot will be asking is, these sort of investments have sort of a signal to the market in terms of investor confidence.
Yes.
Perhaps looking at the regional ventures you're keen on tapping into, why the region? Is there something unique happening in the region?
I think if you look at us from an Old Micho perspective, coming from South Africa today, what kind of returns would you be giving your policyholder or shareholders? We need to find return. And return right now, I think we need to appreciate that return comes from Africa, and more importantly, sub-Saharan Africa. So if we are sitting in Kenya and we forget all the noise that's going on, and you just focus on what has happened that is good, then the opportunities are here. We need to take advantage of that. We need to invest in our markets. We need to believe in the potential of our market. If I step outside Kenya and I look at South Sudan, the South Sudan insurance business is probably one of our best return generators currently as UAP. Despite everything.
The turmoil.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I visit Juba, it's a beautiful place. I keep wondering why they wouldn't send me to stay permanently in Juba. It's a beautiful place. It's a growing town. In a few years, we should see a lot of economic development coming through. If you look at Uganda and the developments happening in Uganda, we've just finished the business park in Uganda at Nakawa. And it's full, 100% occupancies. Yes, it takes a while to fill in a building, but that's not it. You don't build for long term and panic in 1 year. I think people need to allow businesses to fill up and do the right thing with the population. If I look at the portfolio in Kenya, Equity Center, Union Towers, Kimathi Street in Nairobi, Orange Telecom House, those are all properties within the space that I operate in, and they're fully occupied, and they give good return. So we're not looking for double digit, let's sell, there's a craze for quick money. We're not saying that's what we're looking for. We're looking for long-term stability and growth for ourselves and for our policyholders as an insurance business.
All right. And Patricia, perhaps as we wrap up as well, looking at the region, we've also seen some levels of exposure. And this has sort of had an impact on companies that have subsidiaries across the region, to be precise, in a place like Sudan, South Sudan actually. As a company, do you feel insulated from regional shocks, especially to the main headquarters here in Nairobi?
I think you can't totally be insulated, but from an insurance portfolio point of view, I think if anything, the property portfolio has actually added value there. Because if you're in a hyperinflationary environment or an environment getting into that space, the one asset class that withstands that environment is property. So we've had the shocks in Juba, but it's more when you just consolidate the accounts. But if you go to the Juba accounts themselves, the business is doing well and it's growing. The insurance top line is growing. So that's an accounting anomaly, which I think will pass. And whether you're Equity or one of the other multinationals, I think it's a phase that will pass. And at the end of the month or year, we will be standing here and celebrating Southern Sudan. So I'm excited to be in that market.
So finally, insurance penetration is at a paltry 3%.
Yes.
Of course, many say that there's still room to grow it up, but we're not seeing the pace around it.
I think there's a lot of education that has to be done, and financial education. I think the reliance on children to pay your medical or I'm told I'm not supposed to say burial costs, but all those related costs is not. We don't like those topics.
Yeah.
But I think if we invest in education and if people keep believing that insurance is here for the long term, I think that's the biggest fear now is people don't believe we're here for the long term. If people believe that, they will come and take insurance. So we believe insurance is the way to go, and it's going to pick up.
All right.
Yes.
And what's your outlook now that we are heading into an election year, and a lot also has to be pegged on this as well?
You know, I think first we're panicking too early in advance of our elections. We've seen the stock market coming down, but it was, people took profit, but now the foreigners are back.
Yeah.
I think if we can get the story right, that elections come and go, but investments are here for the long term, then you will make choices now that pay you dividend a year or two from now. So my advice to anyone coming to me now is don't make me panic over short-term 3-month issue that will pass.
Okay.
When it passes, you will still hold your property, you will still have your equity, you will still have to invest in this market. And at that time, you really don't want the foreigners to be the ones who will be taking the advantage. We as local Kenyans and East Africans should play a part in this market even now.
Well, many thanks there, Patricia Kiwanuka, who is a Group MD for Asset Management at UAP Old Mutual, just sharing with us some of the latest insights around the insurance business, and of course inviting you to go and see the UAP Towers, which I'm told is one of the tallest buildings right now in Nairobi. Of course, that's something I will consider doing over the weekend.